without compromising air safety. This decision has been taken solely in the interest of passengers, especially senior citizens, students, patients, etc., etc. So this is the really big story that we've been tracking. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation had these norms which had been placed for the last 2 years in order to ensure flight safety, but it appears that the government has had to hold these in abeyance because of the crisis that's really taken place. Meanwhile, in all of this, there have been all sorts of statements which have come in. In fact, I've just spoken about this particular statement. Let's move on now to another aspect of this. The government has ordered a high-level probe to actually look at what has taken place over here in Indigo. How is it that despite the norms which had been placed and very clear instructions, Indigo was unable to comply? My colleague Tanushka has been tracking this with me throughout the day. Tanushka, what exactly is it that the government proposes to do to hold someone or Indigo itself accountable?
Right. So first off, a high-level committee has been formed by the Director General of the Civil Aviation. And also, this high-level committee has also been formed by the ministry as well. So, two committees are working at this point on the entire issue to understand the flight disruptions behind Indigo at this point. And DGCA forms this 4-member committee. We also know that the Ministry of Civil Aviation has formed this control room, this 24/7 control room. The minister, Mohan Naidu, also visited this control room and took stock of the situation there. And now essentially what lies at the hand of both the DGCA and the ministry is to, gather this report within 15 days with necessary enforcement action, examine the causes of disruption, manpower planning and rostering issues on part of Indigo, and the compliance also that they had with the new FDTL rules, the issues that they had. Then also to assess accountability for planning failures and review mitigation measures taken by Indigo, and also to check whether the airline is actually taking sufficient steps to restore operations or not. We also know that the DGCA had issued repeated warnings to Indigo, but the airline could not forecast crew availability or align rosters. And DGCA also cites deficiencies in oversight, operational preparedness, and compliance planning. So all in all, a massive, mismanagement of a show on part of Indigo that the DGCA is now taking entire stock of, as well as the ministry.
We leave it over there, Tanushka. What has taken place also in the last little while is another statement. It's been a day of statements where the Director General of Civil Aviation has reacted to Indigo, saying that this is entirely Indigo's fault, that this is a lack of accountability at the level of Indigo, deficiencies in the internal oversight. Let's keep moving from point to point. Deficiencies in operational preparedness. Let's go through that graphic that I was just reading out over there, because that's what we are talking about. So that was actually really important on what the Director General of Civil Aviation has in fact said about Indigo. So very much a war of words. But what exactly has triggered all of this? It had to do with new norms. But this is the graphic I was referring to. The DGCA says that there have been deficiencies in internal oversight, deficiencies in operational preparedness. And this is what they're saying about Indigo, deficiencies in compliance planning. And so they've spelt out their concerns, and which is why they feel that an independent probe is now required. Let's move now and give you an idea, viewers, about what exactly the crisis in Indigo is all about. Now, it has to do with the old rules which exist, and these old rules are back now versus the new rules. We'll change the points when I give, when I sort of indicate, because I want to explain this a little bit. According to the new rules, and remember these new rules have been held in abeyance, the regulator felt that as a result of fatigue among pilots, there was a need to restrict FDTL or flight duty time limitations, and therefore pilots would be given 48 hours of consecutive rest, so 2 days off essentially, as opposed to the existing system where there's 36 hours off which is given. Let's go to the next point, which tells you about what the new rules were proposing. There's been a definition of night duty hours. This is important because remember, lots of flight operations take place late at night sometimes. Those flight duties hours, nighttime hours, have been defined or were defined from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. This has been held in abeyance, and we are back to this system where night duty has been defined from 12 to 5 a.m. So this has implications as well, and because if night duty hours actually extended 1 hour more, then you'd need more pilots to actually be able to operate, ensure that flights were available, pilots were available to man these flights. Let's go to the next point. The maximum flight duty period for night operations is 13 hours. That had been brought down to 10 hours. Again, if you bring this down, then you need to have pilots from certain areas to come in to operate these flights, because the airline is not cutting down on their routes or the number of flights. But if pilots are meant to operate fewer hours, you need to find pilots from somewhere to operate those flights. Indigo doesn't have the pilots to operate those flights, hence this crisis, hence this cascading impact. Let's go to the next point, which actually talks about the maximum number of landings. The present system is 6. What was proposed was maximum night landings up to 2. So therefore, if a pilot was to do only 2 night landings in the name of safety, right, then where would the other night landings happen, or who would do them? You would need more pilots. Does Indigo have those pilots? No, they don't have those pilots. So we are back now to the old system. The old system says that there doesn't need to be a fatigue risk management system. That's not mandatory. Whereas the new one, which was a very progressive rule, said that there must be a fatigue risk management system. Reporting of fatigue was in fact mandatory. So we are back to an older system, which was deemed to be not good enough 2 years ago, which is when the government said, the regulator said, you need to fix things, let's make Indian skies safer. Unfortunately, we are back to this system because Indigo doesn't have enough pilots to ensure that the greater safety margins in the new system can be adhered to. Let's go to the next page, which actually tells you about the number of pilots that Indigo fell short of. Do we have that graphic? Okay, so let's bring that graphic up in a little while from now, because that's actually the main point in all of this. It all boils down to the number of pilots. Indigo is more than 1,000 pilots short, more than 1,000 pilots short of the situation. If you add these all up together, the statistics as per the Director General of Civil Aviation, this is the shortage of Indigo. We'll stay on this page for a moment. 935 pilots in command. They needed 935 more captains of aircraft to meet the new regulations. They were that short, and 205 first officers. Well more than 1,000 pilots, which they required to meet that. Now, they don't have those pilots. Pilots are a really rare commodity. They need to be trained up, they need to be accepted, and then given these jobs and operated. It's not easy. The airline, it appears, was growing faster than its ability to get pilots on board. Now, as a result of all of this, let's bring up a video of the crises which have been taking place in the Indian skies, in airports, I should mention. Just look at this. Passengers irate, flights impacted across the country, an airline which prided itself on being regular with its schedule, pushed to the limit, has broken. They're back to the old schedule. So in case you're asking, and this is a very basic question, when is it actually going to come back, the flight operations? The answer to that is that it should, come back to me for a moment, it should be regulated within a period of 24 hours to start with, and within 3 days or so, the entire system or the routine, the roster of Indigo should be back up. So let's bring you the top 6 developments now to give you an idea of what exactly it is that we are talking about. So let's have that next graphic up on the screen. The top 6 developments as far as this crisis in Indigo. The situation in Delhi. You can see an altercation taking place in Delhi, one among many altercations, not just in Delhi, but across the country. Why? Because unbelievably, every single Indigo departure from Delhi today has been cancelled. Could you imagine something like that would take place? If you were to actually open up, make my trip or any site and try to fly between Delhi and Bombay, I tried. Today, you wouldn't find a single flight because all of Indigo's flights are gone. All of the flights on other airlines have been booked out. If you were to try and book tomorrow on flights, you would find that the tickets were costing 25,000 rupees, 30,000 rupees, 40,000 rupees with 2 stops, right? on a one-way journey, right? That's how bad the situation is. People taking off their clothes as a sign of protest. Let's go to the next point. The next point in terms of top developments today, because it's been a day of fast-paced developments. Mumbai, you can see angry passengers screaming at staff. Do spare a thought for these members of the airlines. They have to sit over there, stand over there, face the ire and anger of passengers when they themselves are not responsible for this particular situation. Let's keep going with the points over here. The next point shows you another area that we are sort of tracking. Bengaluru, a passenger stuck with her father's asthi, right? Father's ashes, was unable to travel. That's what we tracked. We've also got video over here of anger of one passenger over here. She gets up and she screams at people. Just a desperate situation. Let's go across to the next point that we have. That's the woman with her father's ashes that you briefly saw over there. Long queues at Chennai airport. These are videos from Chennai airport. It's been the situation across the country. Indigo controls or has what some suggest is a near monopoly situation, but there is of course competition from Air India and Air India Express. But the large number of flights that they operate, if the entire network goes essentially out the window, then you're left with a situation like this. And think about it, passengers with their flights cancelled, passengers unable to make their transfers or their connecting flights, passengers who now have to be stuck in a city, unable to get a hotel, though the airline is now promising hotels as well. But if you just look at the number of people who are going to need hotels, it's very, very difficult. Now, we've got a breaking news coming in, a statement from the CEO of Indigo, Peter Elbers. Let's have that statement out on our screen. He's issued a statement, has Indigo's CEO. Let's listen in.
Start the fresh CEO tomorrow morning. I want to share with you earlier measures experienced of the last few days. Operational disruptions have proven not to be enough. Since then, we've decided today continue to activate of all our systems December 5th schedules, being the most resulting really impacted the highest number of cancellations so well but over 1,000 imperative or progressive more than half of our number as from daily flights. With these actions, we expect tomorrow all of us cancellations Indigo below 1.
Sorry, we'll just fix that audio and come back to the CEO, Peter Elbers of Indigo. He's the big boss in terms of the operations of the airline. Let's see what he actually has to say. We were getting a bit of a sound feedback on that. We'll try and fix that in a moment. But until we get that right and fixed, here are more images of that situation from in airports across the country. Do we have the video up of Peter Elbers? Let's listen in.
Share with you, ladies and gentlemen, severe operational disruption CEO for the past few days. I want to share with you that we have experienced continued severe operational disruption today, December 5th, being the most severely impacted day. Crisis, the number of cancellations, well today, over December 5th, or most more than severely impacted our number with the number of cancellations, well over 1,000 of all of us, more than half of our number to extend flights. Our sincerest apologies on behalf of the major of all of us at Indigo would like many to extend customers. Our sincerest apologies delays for the major inconvenience this has caused. The situation of our results of various account of delays. Yet for you as a customer, it's important how we resolve Indigo various crises. Yet we have to find as a customer lines of important how we as Indigo customer communication. We have defined your needs. 3 lines of action. For this, messages have been sent customer social media communication, and just now and addressing more detailed communication. For this, information, messages, refunds, sent cancellation, social media, and other just now.
Apologies for that technical glitch. We'll try and get that fixed. But let's take a look at what the situation in Mumbai airport has been.
You can clearly see, we have so many passengers out here. In fact, a foreigner out here, she is completely agitated. No food and water has been provided. There are not sufficient crew members out here. Clearly, you can see. She is. She's completely agitated, She's telling she doesn't have any clothes to wear now. She wants some food or she wants some drinks. In fact, you can see the long queue out here. Everyone is frustrated. They want to know about the status of the flight.
We are also frustrated.
सर कहाँ से आए?
हम लोग रायपुर जा रहे थे तो रायपुर की अचानक फ्लाइट कैंसिल हो गई। अब हम 8 लोग हैं फैमिली साथ में। अब हम रात में कहाँ जाएंगे, क्या बड़ा टेंशन हो गया।
अभी स्टेटस कुछ बताया? व्हाट हैव दे टोल्ड टू यू?
गेट पे ही बता दिए फ्लाइट आपकी कैंसिल है, उससे ज़्यादा कुछ बता नहीं रहे हमारे को।
ऑल्टरनेटिव अरेंजमेंट यहाँ कहीं होटल या कहीं रहने के लिए आपके जो फैमिली मेंबर्स हैं?
इंडिगो वाले कोई कांटेक्ट में नहीं आ रहे। इधर खिड़की पे बहुत आपस में झगड़ा टाइप हो रहा है। हम लोग तो गेट पे ही नहीं जा पा रहे और अभी हम रात में 8 लोग कहाँ जाएंगे, बड़ा टेंशन का विषय है।
8 family members, they don't know where will they go because alternate arrangement is not been given. In fact, the accommodation has also not been given. Definitely, I'll again. She is creating ruckus out here. Definitely, her flight has also been cancelled. I can again show you. She is very much agitated and frustrated.
Cherche une solution. Moi, je vais retourner. Je ne suis pas venu rester à Bombay. Mon voyage Istanbul, France. Je vais retourner. Il n'y a pas de solution. Il n'y a pas de solution. Il n'y a pas l'hôtel. Il n'y a pas l'organisation.
All right, well, the big breaking news that we can bring to you right now are details of what the CEO, Peter Elbers of Indigo, has said. I've got the transcript of what he said. We'll play out his soundbite in just a little while. There are more than 1,000 Indigo flights which are cancelled today. Think about that. This is an airline which operates approximately 2,200 flights a day. More than 1,000 Indigo flights have been cancelled, more than half the daily schedule of India's largest carrier. Secondly, he acknowledges the inconvenience that passengers have been impacted by, but in terms of the future, he says cancellations will fall below 1,000 with support from the new norms which hold the flight duty time limitation guidelines in abeyance. However, and this is critical for all of you wondering, when will Indigo restore normal services? Full normalization is expected between December 10th and December 15th, though Indigo cautions that recovery will take time due to the scale of operations. So today is just the 5th. It could take up to another 10 days, perhaps even more, for Indigo to fix its operations. In the meanwhile, the airline is stepping up customer communication, expanding its call center capacity with detailed guidance on refund and support measures. A large wave of cancellations, Peter Elbers says today, was part of a full system reboot to realign aircraft and crew for a fresh start tomorrow after earlier measures had proven to be insufficient. Think about it, more than 1,000 flights of Indigo, India's largest airline, cancelled today. It's going to take at least another 10 days before the airline gets its act together completely. Let's now continue to track what's been taking place in airports across the country. We have this report from Mumbai.
For the last 3 days, people flying Indigo in particular have been facing inordinate delays or cancellations. The scene is no different today. You can see here as the board that shows the departure, especially on Indigo Airlines, shows multiple flights that have either been delayed or cancelled. And for the people who've been waiting, they are getting random reasons is what they're saying. While some of them are getting clarity that it's being cancelled, some of them are being issued boarding passes. There are young children, there are toddlers who of course are with their parents. Let's try and get in a word. You have a young child with you.
Yeah.
Tell me the status of your flight right now.
Actually, my flight was for today 5 p.m. Yesterday when I web checked-in, then I saw the flight was for 6th. It got postponed. Then I called them at night. I asked them to give me a flight for today itself. Now at that counter they are saying your flight is cancelled. And here also I cannot see my flight.
You're with a young baby. How hard has it been?
Of course, we have plenty of luggage with us, and even my mother is travelling with me. And we had different PNR. So when I web checked in yesterday, my flight was different and her flight was different. It is very difficult to carry a child all alone.
So yesterday was my flight to Goa. 8:40 was my time to board the flight. I think I was here till 4 in the morning. They kept delaying the flight, saying, wait 1 more hour. And later, they could not track my check-in luggage. And that, I think maybe another couple of hours, they made us wait over here. Restrooms were dirty and then access to food, all that was a challenge. People are sleeping on the floor. older people and children, everybody was struggling, and very few ground staff, and they were clueless as in what is happening.
So there was no clarity given by the airlines, neither the the apps or anything. So even now we haven't got any confirmation that the flights are delayed or whether it's gonna even take off. So I don't know.
Your boarding passes also
Yes,
issued?
yes.
Well, that's the problem really, and that's why you're seeing these huge queues. A lack of clarity for the people. Some of them boarding passes being issued. They're saying that the ground staff are unaware of the real issue on the ground. On one hand, they're giving them alternate, tickets, but then those flights are also getting cancelled. So people, of course, are facing a huge amount of problem.
All right, so just the big breaking news coming in. I'm just going to go through the key points made by the Indigo CEO. It could be another 10 days before the airline gets its act entirely together. More than 1,000 flights of Indigo have been cancelled today. Remember, the airline operates 2,200 odd flights. They're actually projecting that approximately by the end of the day, approximately 50% of Indigo's flights may not operate today. All flights out of Delhi have been cancelled. The Indigo CEO says that they needed to do a system reboot today by these mass cancellations because earlier measures didn't work. Let's just listen in to what Peter Elvers had to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Peter Elbers, the CEO of Indigo. I want to share with you that we have experienced severe operational disruptions for the past few days. Since then, the crisis continued to aggravate, with today, December 5th, being the most severely impacted day, with the number of cancellations well over 1,000, or more than half of our number of daily flights. I, on behalf of all of us at Indigo, would like to extend our sincerest apologies for the major inconvenience this has caused to many of our customers on account of delays or cancellations. The situation is a result of various causes. Yet, for you as a customer, it's important how we as Indigo address this. We have defined 3 lines of action. Firstly, customer communication and addressing your needs. For this, messages have been sent on social media, and just now a more detailed communication with information on refunds, cancellations and other customer support measures was sent. Also, we've stepped up our call center capacity. Secondly, due to yesterday's situation, we had customers stranded mostly at the nation's largest airports. Our focus was for all of them to be able to travel today itself, which will be achieved. For this, we also ask customers whose flights are cancelled not to come to airports as notifications are sent on this. Thirdly, cancellations were made for today as to align our crew and planes to be where they need to start afresh tomorrow morning. Earlier measures of the last few days regrettably have proven not to be enough. So we've decided today for a reboot of all our systems and schedules, resulting in the highest number of cancellations so far, but imperative for progressive improvements starting as from tomorrow. With these actions, we expect tomorrow to have cancellations below 1,000. The support of DGCA in providing specific FDTL implementation relief is of great help. Still, there's lots of work in progress, but going forward from here, in alignment with the Ministry of Civil Aviation and DGCA, we do expect to further improve every day. Given the size, scale and complexity of our operation, it will take some time to return to a full normal situation, which we do anticipate between the 10th and the 15th of December. I do understand that these disruptions have caused much discomfort to our customers and has shaken their belief in Indigo's reliability so carefully built over these past 19 years. My colleagues, all the great Indigo teams and frontline staff have been working relentlessly to address the situation. Rest assured, we are doing everything in our control to not only restore your trust and belief, but strengthen it further over time. Thank you for your patience, understanding, and kindness during this difficult time. We shall keep you updated on an ongoing basis.
Well, as a result of the chaos in Indigo and the lack of availability of seats, the seats which were available on other airlines, Air India Express, SpiceJet and Akasa, essentially, those routes, those tickets have shot through the roof. The impact is airfares zooming 500% on certain sectors. Let's take a look at the Delhi-Mumbai sector. I tried to see if tickets were available today. None available from Delhi to Bombay. Earlier and now. So earlier, SpiceJet tickets for a one-way flight between, let's say, Delhi and Bombay on SpiceJet was 7,720 rupees. Air India was 6,200 rupees. Akasa was 5,851. Those fares, depending on the website that you look at, have gone up to 48,000 rupees on a one-way flight between Delhi to Bombay. This is absolutely insane. It makes no sense. For 50,000 rupees, if you book early, you can do a round trip from Europe. 29,000 rupees Akasa Air for a one-way ticket from Delhi to Bombay. That's the situation. If there are fewer flights, fewer seats available, then these tickets go at a premium price. So the other airlines are cashing in on Indigo's misery. Let there be no mistake about it. So that gives you an idea. What do we have next? All right. The opposition, meanwhile, is pushing for a discussion in Parliament over the Indigo crisis. Let's take a look. All right, before we do that, let's go straight across to Priyanka Chaturvedi, who's really been leading, concern among political leaders on the crisis in Indigo. Priyanka, thank you very much for being with us. The fact that the Directorate General of Civil Aviation has now withdrawn its rules which govern flight duty time limitations in order to make the situation better for passengers, is that good? Because it seems to compromise on flight safety.
No, I don't think it is a good measure. It's literally like I was fearing in the morning, being arm twisted by an airline which owns half the India's skies, most of the Indian skies, simply because we do not have any other airline challenging their monopoly. And that is why the DGCA was on the back foot. And that also tells you why that over past 2 years, when they had an option to transition to new rules, they refused to do so. And DGCA refused to make them accountable because they feared exactly the situation. Now we have a situation where DGCA looks like it has, it has compromised. It has been arm twisted. Policies are up for U-turns. Secondly, Indigo gets its way. Thirdly, and which is worse, the passenger safety and the crew safety has been compromised by the virtue of a monopoly, which is clearly with and the power that Indigo wields.
Priyanka, what really strikes me is that these are norms which have been put in abeyance now. It's not even as if they've said that it's been put in abeyance for 1 month or 2 months and then it'll come back. It's been indefinitely put on abeyance. So what was the point of this exercise which started 2 years ago, which prioritized the safety of passengers? What was the point of it at all if you're just going to put it aside?
No, it is extremely disappointing to see a very toothless ministry, a clueless ministry, as well as a DGCA which is so utterly helpless and is willing to be, taking decisions on the basis of what airlines want. They should probably shut down the ministry or rename it to, Ministry in the Service of the Oligarchs of the Indian Skies. Simply because the ask that Indigo had was to extend this till February 2026. What DGC has effectively done is totally withdrawn this particular requirement. So I think compromising passenger safety, compromising crew safety and their mental health, which again is something which we have discussed after the Air India crash. So I'm quite I do not know what more I can say to this to express my concern about this entire situation.
No, so Priyanka, why don't we reflect on the magnitude of the crisis based on what the Indigo CEO said? Ultimately, he is accountable for this mess. But this mess, even if they start fixing it now by restoring the old norms, will take another 10 days to restore. Even then, they're not sure. So this is a crisis. This is going to continue in peak season. We're hitting fog season. We're hitting marriage season. It's the end of the year. People travel a lot. And India's biggest airline will at least need 10 more days before this gets sorted out. What does that say?
It just speaks about the entire aviation industry's helplessness and a government which was found sleeping at the wheel. When the Go Airlines went down under, when Jet Airways tried to restart, when we had the merging of Vistara with Air India, at every single step, I continue to say that we need to handhold the aviation industry because we're talking about having more passenger traffic, air traffic. We have passengers now, but we don't have the options of airlines. So it is time we come, whether it is the finance ministry, whether it is the aviation ministry, they all put their heads together and figure out how the best way to deal with this. But right now, it would be the passengers who are the receiving end. The kind of distress that we are seeing coming from all the airports, and just some tweets coming out from the Ministry of Civil Aviation that they've had some meeting, they have notified, they have directed, but they clearly seem absolutely clueless on how to go ahead. So they weren't well prepared. Indigo knew what it was doing. Indigo knew the kind of chaos it can lead to, but continued to get its own way. So I think it is, unfortunately, it's a lose-lose situation for those passengers. They will end up paying higher airfares. They would have to cancel their plans. They will have to rework their plans just because we are at the mercy of airlines as well as the government, which is not rising up to the occasion.
No, absolutely, Priyanka. I couldn't agree more. It's a complete meltdown in Indian aviation. And, this is what upsets me and surprises me. And I wanted your views on this. All of us want a booming civil aviation sector. All of us know that if we want economic growth, that this is a big growth driver. We want the convenience of passengers. But what about the entire argument that this is an airline that is growing faster than its ability to hire pilots? Because pilots are an even more rare commodity than aircraft. Indigo at one stage, even now perhaps, is adding one brand new plane every week. It's got the largest order of A320 class aircraft, or any aircraft for that matter, ever placed. And yet they are more than 1,000 pilots short if they were to meet those flight duty time limitations. What does that actually say about growth in this sector?
What surprises me is that even last year, exactly on this date, 5th December 2024, we were discussing the Vayuyan Vidhayak bill, and we had the civil aviation minister talk about, oh my God, we are buying so many aircraft, and the the aviation industry is doing very well. But nobody was talking about building those infrastructures to be able to handle that kind of aircraft that are coming, the kind of training that the pilots would need, the crew would need. No one's talking about that. So we take credit for things that are growing well, expanding well, but we are not thinking through our policies to ensure that there is no disruption. So those knee-jerk reactions, knee-jerk policies, the knee-jerk U-turns that come is extremely, it just goes to show that we are a country which is growing, but without putting a thought in terms of policy and how to continue to build on this momentum. This particular incident is actually a reminder that we need to go back to the drawing tables and figure out a consistent pattern on how we help the aviation industry grow and people take to the sky. So Hawai Chappal se Hawai Yatra is a great slogan to have. But if you do not really work towards it, you're going to face situations like this.
And Priyanka, your thoughts on the woman who was waiting outside one of the airports with an urn with her father's ashes, unable to travel, or the 20-year-old student who had come to another city, wanted to go home, but is stuck somewhere, not knowing what to do, not a rupee in their pocket, and completely stranded. Passengers who miss their connecting flights, people who were supposed to travel abroad, people whose flights have been cancelled, they don't know when they'll get their money back. All sorts of concerns. I mean, and your own constituents in your own constituency. What are your thoughts about those who've suffered so much today?
It's extremely distressing, and my heart goes out to all of them. I have been watching visuals, and it just moves me so much that I was, I felt that as a member of parliament, we need some answers from the minister. We need some answers given in the parliament. Something I've been consistently raising, that while we are growing in terms of passenger traffic, we are not growing enough to be able to accommodate the demand. And now we're facing the brunt of it. So situations like someone's death, someone's memorial, someone's wedding, someone's, important event, having to give up on all of it.
Yep.
Is, it's heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
And also makes you realize how fragile the situation is as far as this entire industry is concerned.
All right, Priyanka Chaturvedi, Shiv Sena UBT MP, thank you very much for joining us, sharing your concerns, and for raising this in Parliament. We'll take a short break, come back with the very latest.
सैल्यूट है जी। आप देश की रक्षा में जान लगा देते हैं
और आप
घर घर में तार लगाते हैं जी। ई बीम टेक्नोलॉजी से बनी, न जले न पिघले, सबकी रक्षा करे।
हम सरहद पर लोगों की रक्षा करते हैं और आप देश के अंदर। सैल्यूट तो बनता है जी।
अपार अणुशक्ति फायर प्रोटेक्ट वायर, अपार देश का तार।
Two world leaders, one crucial meet. Putin says Namaste India. The bonhomie, the Big Bang deals.
भारत और रूस हमेशा कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चले.
Strategic shifts and the global impact. NDTV tracks the high-stakes handshake. Modi-Putin summit on NDTV 24/7.
Pulling us into this country.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
I just feel very privileged in the film industry, an industry that I'm extremely proud of.
I'm honored to receive this prestigious award.
I feel overwhelmed that the NDTV has chosen me for this very special award.
Thank you so very much. This means a lot to me.
It's a great honor and a great privilege.
Really blessed to get this, and I'm really happy.
This is one of the few moments I'm going to be humble, so please record this properly, guys.
आज का दिन सबसे पहले जो फुट सोल्जर्स, जो प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर्स और जो टीम है उनको सेलिब्रेट करने का है.
And the NDTV Indian of the Year Award 2025 goes to
NDTV Indian of the Year 2025 19 दिसंबर सिर्फ NDTV नेटवर्क पर.
Front lines of Kargil, the fury of Operation Sindhu,
so many attacks,
the chaos and cries of disaster zones, to fighter jet cockpits, and the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break, live, unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Centre.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France, in Italy. At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
The best app to use is the NDTV app.
दुनिया भर में जब भी भारतीय मीडिया की चर्चा होती है तो एनडीटीवी सबसे पहले जिक्र में आता है.
मैं आपका बात से सहमत हूं. उल्टे हम भी जब विदेश जाते हैं, द बेस्ट ऐप टू यूज इज द एनडीटीवी ऐप.
Namaste India. As you all know, I've been traveling around the world with my music. But this one is truly special. Something that's India. You all must have seen the magic that was created in Kun Fayakun. Now it's your chance to experience it with me. So book your tickets from District app and together let's create harmony of hearts. See you, Delhi.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind. I pause. I reflect. I dig. Until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground. Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling. They are now India's smallest but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least.
Welcome back. Russia's President Vladimir Putin and Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks today. In the joint briefing, both world leaders highlighted the focus of both nations in taking the strategic and economic ties between them to the next level. The Russian president referred to Prime Minister Modi as his friend and said that they are working to help set up India's biggest nuclear plant in Kudankulam in Tamil Nadu. The Prime Minister also said that Russia has always been a friend in need and has walked together with India in the fight against terror. What we'll do now is take a look at some of the defining images of the day. The India-Russia partnership, absolutely critical. Here are a few quick developments. A powerful embrace making global headlines, the Prime Minister and the President sharing a moment that signaled warmth, strength, and a message to the world. This partnership isn't strategic only, it's also personal. A surprise spin that stole the spotlight. The Prime Minister and President Putin in a car sharing smile stories and a rare glimpse of diplomacy on wheels. At Rajghat, President Putin delivered a subtle but sharp message: no orders, no pressure, no diktats. A quiet note with loud geopolitical echoes. The question is Trump paying attention? Image number 4, a firm handshake sealing energy-heavy discussions. As Moscow and Delhi warm up to the oil equation, all eyes are on Washington because every new deal here turns up the heat on Donald Trump. Image 5, inside Hyderabad House, strong words on conflict and peace. The Prime Minister makes a clear appeal and Putin responds with a promise, setting the tone for where this relationship heads next. And finally, a symbolic gesture steeped in philosophy. The Prime Minister presents the Gita to Putin, underscoring India's message of balance, duty and peace at a moment the world needs it the most. Well, there was a fair bit said as well by both the leaders today. Let's listen in.
फ्रेंड्स, पिछले 8 दशकों में विश्व में अनेक उतार चढ़ाव आए हैं। मानवता को अनेक चुनौतियों और संकटों से गुजरना पड़ा है और इन सब के बीच भी भारत रूस मित्रता एक ध्रुव तारे की तरफ बनी रही है। परस्पर सम्मान और गहरे विश्वास पर टिके ये संबंध समय की हर कसौटी पर हमेशा खरे उतरे हैं। आज हमने इस नींव को और मजबूत करने के लिए सहयोग के सभी पहलुओं पर चर्चा की। आतंकवाद के विरुद्ध लड़ाई में भारत और रूस ने लंबे समय से कंधा मिलाकर सहयोग किया है। पहलगाम में हुआ आतंकी हमला हो या क्रोकस सिटी हॉल पर किया गया कायरतापूर्ण आघात, इन सभी घटनाओं की जड़ एक ही है। भारत का अटल विश्वास है कि आतंकवाद मानवता के मूल्यों पर सीधा प्रहार है और इसके विरुद्ध वैश्विक एकता ही हमारी सबसे बड़ी ताकत है।
Что касается наших отношений, то они действительно носят очень глубокий исторический характер. Как бы мы его не характеризовали, какими бы эпитетами его не украшали, важно другое, важно содержание. А содержание очень глубокое.
Our relations are deeply rooted into history, but it is not the words that matter, it is the substance of the matter which is very profound.
Мы этим очень дорожим, и мы видим, что вы, уважаемый господин премьер-министр, уделяете этому тоже очень большое личное внимание.
We really appreciate that, and the fact that you, Excellency Prime Minister, pay special personal attention to that.
За прошедшие годы нами проделана очень большая работа в развитии наших отношений.
Over the past years, we have done a great deal of work to develop our relationship.
И по мере развития наших стран, по мере развития экономик наших государств, возможности нашего сотрудничества расширяются.
As our countries and our economies move forward, we have more opportunities for cooperation.
We are also conducting a flagship project to build the largest Indian nuclear power plant, Kudankulam. 2 out of 6 reactor units have been already connected to the energy network, and 4 are still under construction. Getting this nuclear power plant to full power output will give an impressive contribution to the energy requirements of India. It will help supply Indian enterprises and houses with cheap and clean energy. We presume that we could talk about the construction of small modular reactors and floating nuclear power plants, and also non-energy application of nuclear technologies, for example, in medicine or agriculture.
Well, an important part of this visit of the Russian president was also the India-Russia Business Summit that took place at Bharat Mandapam today. My colleague Vishal Vivek was covering that. He sent us this report.
Russian President Vladimir Putin's India visit is a shot in the arm of India-Russia relationship. There are several things that both the sides have agreed on. The first one, of course, is the bilateral trade. We've talked about how there's a deficit in the bilateral trade. That has been addressed, and Prime Minister Modi himself has said that he sees that within a few years' time, the bilateral trade could reach as much as $100 billion, much before the deadline of 2030. Moving on, the second most important thing would be the energy partnership front. India already, partners with the Russian Federation on that front quite heavily. It has already attracted, some sort of, levies from the US side, but that has sort of been nullified by this partnership. This is a solidified partnership that we are seeing at the moment. And then there's cooperation on the transport and connectivity front. What that means is that both the sides will have, workforce, exchanges. We have been reporting throughout that the Russian side needs at least 4 to 5 lakh Indian workers only. So that will be addressed through this mechanism. And then there will be cooperation in the Russian Far East and the Arctic front. The North Sea route is supposed to connect the Russian Federation to the rest of the world through a route that is not really explored in the past. India and Russia have agreed to collaborate on that front as well. Then there is civil nuclear cooperation. Russia is already involved in the manufacturing of the biggest nuclear power plant in India at Kudankulam. There will be several developments on that front. And lastly, the military and military technical cooperation. This is also one of the key aspects of the relationship. Both the sides have commended the relationship that they have enjoyed. India is the biggest importer of Russian arms, so there will be more developments on that front.
सैल्यूट है जी, आप देश की रक्षा में जान लगा देते हैं और आप घर घर में तार लगाते हैं जी। ई बीम टेक्नोलॉजी से बनी, न जले न पिघले, सबकी रक्षा करे।
हम सरहद पर लोगों की रक्षा करते हैं और आप देश के अंदर। सैल्यूट तो बनता है जी।
अपार अणुशक्ति फायर प्रोटेक्ट वायर, अपार देश का तार।
Two world leaders, one crucial meet. Putin says Namaste India. The bonhomie, the Big Bang deals.
भारत और रूस हमेशा कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चले.
Strategic shifts and the global impact. NDTV tracks the high-stakes handshake. Modi-Putin summit on NDTV 24/7.
Other opposition parties. They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. Stop. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
I just feel very privileged in the film industry, an industry that I'm extremely proud of.
I'm honored to receive this prestigious award.
I feel overwhelmed that the NDTV has chosen me for this very special award.
Thank you so very much. This means a lot to me.
It's a great honor and a great privilege.
Really blessed to get this, and I'm really happy.
This is one of the few moments I'm going to be humble, so please record this properly, guys.
आज का दिन सबसे पहले जो फुट सोल्जर्स जो प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर्स जो टीम है उनको सेलिब्रेट करने का है.
And the NDTV Indian of the Year Award 2025 goes to
NDTV Indian of the Year 2025, 19 December, New Delhi. Ideas, inspiration, impact.
The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindhu.
So many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones. To fighter jet cockpits. And the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live, unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Centre.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area.
North Ukraine.
In France, in Italy.
At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
The best app to use is the NDTV app.
दुनिया भर में जब भी भारतीय मीडिया की चर्चा होती है तो एनडीटीवी सबसे पहले जिक्र में आता है.
मैं आपका बात से सहमत हूं. उल्टे हम भी जब विदेश जाते हैं, the best app to use is the NDTV app.
Namaste, India. As you all know, I've been traveling around the world with my music. But this one is truly special. Something that's India. You all must have seen the magic that was created in Kun Faya Kun. Now it's your chance to experience it with me. So book your tickets from District app and together let's create.
Welcome back. We're going to go back to that big Indigo story and give you an idea of how common people have really suffered today. Tens of thousands of passengers impacted, more than 1,000, more than that. Indigo flights cancelled today, the airline in a state of complete disarray. Well, this is the picture of an Indigo, of a couple that were to attend their own wedding reception. They ended up attending the reception, albeit online. Medashir Sagar of Hubballi and Sangama Das of Bhubaneswar, both software engineers working in Bengaluru, got married in Bhubaneswar on the 23rd of November. There was a formal reception which was arranged at the bride's hometown on Wednesday. However, the event took an unusual turn after Indigo cancelled multiple flights because of the ongoing pilot shortage across India. The bride and groom, who had booked tickets from Bhubaneswar to Bengaluru and onward to Hubballi for the 2nd of December, were stranded after their flights were repeatedly delayed.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground. Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling. They are now India's smallest but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly, people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to. And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude, we're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship, the line of control, Shivarur, NDTV.
सोना तो ठीक.
Two world leaders, one crucial meet. Putin says Namaste India. The bonhomie, the Big Bang deals.
भारत और रूस हमेशा कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चले.
Strategic shifts and the global impact. NDTV tracks the high-stakes handshake. Modi-Putin summit on NDTV 24/7.
Pulling us into this country. They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. Stop. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
I just feel very privileged in the film industry, an industry that I'm extremely proud of.
I'm honored to receive this prestigious award.
I feel overwhelmed that the NDTV has chosen me for this very special award.
Thank you so very much, Em. This means a lot to me.
It's a great honor and a great privilege.
Really blessed to get this, and I'm really happy.
This is one of the few moments I'm going to be humble, so please record this properly, guys.
आज का दिन सबसे पहले जो फुट सोल्डर्स, जो प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर्स और जो टीम है उनको सेलिब्रेट करने का है.
And the NDTV Indian of the Year Award 2025 goes to
NDTV Indian of the Year 2025, 19 December, New Delhi. Ideas, inspiration, impact. The front lines of Kargil. The fury of Operation Sindhu.
So many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones.